called Ubuntu. You can contrast it just 4,000 kilometers to the north, where Ubuntu was lacking. We had a genocide 30 years ago. And it surprises me, I'm a keen cyclist, when you cycle through the streets of Johannesburg, which is quite risky. It astounds me how ordinary working class pedestrians are willing to greet, to reciprocate. So I think we've seen it in Nelson Mandela. If you read Johnny Steinberg's amazing and superb book on his marriage to Winnie, you'll see that it wasn't a simple default position that Nelson Mandela was a great man and he was given to reconciliation. We are so lucky to have had Mandela, to have had other leaders, and a national spirit of generosity, which I think we, speaking as a white person, haven't at all deserved, very often haven't deserved. So I think that. The second point is also a difficult point, and it's a tricky point to make. I call it enmeshment. If you look at what's happened in Israel, and Ambassador Merkel, you don't have to agree with me, in Israel there was a total separation. There were even Arab Israelis, of whom there are 1.6 million, who were working, but there was no integrated growing up. On our farms, in our suburbs, across the country, there was always some form of enmeshment between black and white. You had many white families who sent the black kids that they knew who were associated with their families to school. And I think we've made a transition. I say it touching wood, but I think that black and white in South Africa have got more enmeshment, more intrication in each other's lives than separation. A third feature has been the rule of law. Another controversial point. Apartheid was enforced through the law. It was a legal policy. In its minutest detail, the pass laws, the separation, the degradation of status, the exclusion from elementary access to jobs and to opportunities and to universities and to the franchise, all of that was crafted and enforced through the law. And yet, despite that, there was a little sliver of hope. There were good lawyers, the two good lawyers who, when Nelson Mandela was put on trial, there was a lawyer who refused to send him to jail, even though he was the leader of the Defiance campaign in the early 1950s, when the Law Society said you can't have an attorney on the roll who counsels disobedience to the law, you've got to strike him off. Two judges of the Transvaal Supreme Court said no, he's acting for moral reasons. 5 Afrikaner judges in Bloemfontein in the early 1980s struck down the regulations that enforced the pass laws. The pass laws didn't just end, they were struck down by 2 remarkable decisions, which were brought to the court by the Legal Resources Centre and by Arthur Chastelson. So, and then the Durban strikes, which I mentioned, led 6 years later to the Vian Commission and to the realization that labor laws had to be expanded to give the majority workers in South Africa rights. Now, that was a remarkable breakthrough. The ANC-aligned unions decided to use the new labor law system, use the labor courts. A young man called Cyril Ramaphosa used that as well to start the National Union of Mine Workers. And enormous rights were acquired through the law, through the extension of the labor law, through the various enactments. Until 1979, it was a criminal offence for a black person to join or to form a trade union. Quite remarkable. That was transformed over the next 10 years. So these are the things that have kept us from plunging into catastrophe.